Well, you're watching World Talks on TVP World. My name is Sascha Fahrbach. Together we ousted the Orbán regime. Together we liberated Hungary. Together we took back our homeland. Thank you. That was the message from Péter Magyar after a landslide election victory that ends Viktor Orbán's 16-year rule and delivers a rare constitutional majority now with record turnout and sweeping promises to reset Hungary's place in Europe. Attention now turns to how quickly that mandate can translate into real change. Joining us now to discuss it all is Péter Balázs, former Hungarian foreign minister. Good to have you back on TVP World.
Good morning.
Now, I know this is going to be very personal for you, but I also want to ask directly why this result? I mean, it's a massive rejection of Orbán. What do you think was that main driver behind the result we're looking at this morning?
Motivations worked together. I think it was a cumulative effect. One point is that enough is enough. This bad quality governance, populistic messages, declining living standards, and so on. So this is one point. Then Orbán has been on power for the last 16 years. He has won 4 periods in a row, and this was too much. In addition, he hasn't got any new message. He has just repeated himself without reacting on actual things, except a very negative answer to the war in Ukraine. Obviously, he took the side of Russia. And the new challenger was really successful. Péter Magyar and his party, the Tisza party, hasn't been there before. It was a two-year-old party, and they built up a program. They had new faces, convincing faces. Péter Magyar did something what no other politician has done before. He went around in the country. He was holding 5, 6, 7 speeches a day in different cities and villages. He was, people could see him, people could ask him, people could touch him. So if you take all this together, then you can find the reasons and motivations behind this landslide victory.
Mm-hmm. And that landslide, if once all of these things are finally confirmed, looks like 138 seats for Tisza, 55 for Fidesz. It was the 2/3 majority which Magyar needed. That was 133. So looking also at the timing now, tell us a bit what happens next. How quickly will we see that power change? I mean, 16 years of Orbán. How easy/difficult will that be now to undo all the things that have been happening the last 16 years?
Well, Péter Magyar has achieved something which was really the best dream of the opposition. This is the 2/3 majority in the parliament, which is necessary in order to change fundamental legislation and to remove several people in top positions, because Orbán has secured his regime by nominating people to positions like the Constitutional Court, the Supreme Court, and many other important institutions. Péter Magyar has announced yesterday in his first speech 7 top positions, and he asked the people nominated by Fidesz to step back. And in addition, he asked even the President of the Republic to step back, because he is not fit into this high position, obviously. So with 2/3, you can do many things in politics, and it will be necessary, because what we are looking for is a kind of a revolutionary transformation of the Orbán regime.
Mm-hmm. And many things also, I think it's not just domestic, it will also be very much seen what Hungary is going to do internationally. And I'm already looking at some of those congratulatory words from various leaders across Europe. I want to just start also with a neighbor, Poland, from Prime Minister Donald Tusk. And he said here, I'm quoting here, Hungary, Poland, you're back together. Glorious victory, dear friends. So Russians go home. Tell us a little bit about, you're a diplomat yourself. Tell us the relationship now, how that changes between Warsaw and Budapest.
Péter Magyar said yesterday night that his very first foreign visit goes to Warsaw. So the Polish-Hungarian friendship is #1 on his foreign policy list. The second visit is going to an old neighbor, Austria, and the third one to Brussels, obviously to EU and NATO. So these are the foreign policy preferences. And I think it will be a happy coincidence between Péter Magyar and Donald Tusk. The political proximity between the two people and the two leaderships, and it would be the basis for a stronger Visegrad 4 cooperation. Of course, we have to convince the two others, Czech Republic and Slovakia. But the weight is with Poland, obviously, and Poland and Hungary is by far more than the half of Visegrad. So these are the preferences, and Péter can turn the foreign policy strategy of Hungary upside down. And this was a highly unnatural situation that the closest friends of Orbán were, on the one hand, Vladimir Putin, on the other, Donald Trump. And we can go on with the list with the Turkish president, the Chinese president, even some close Iran, and so on. Now this is a return of Hungary to the transatlantic community, which means NATO and European Union.
Mm-hmm. And also on that, I'm just curious, and one of the things we were observing last night was that Orbán conceded fairly early in the night. Can you just tell us what was the reason for that?
Well, Orbán was most upset, of course, with the result. They gave out some false information that they would win the election, which was obviously not the situation. So he has to accommodate now with the new situation. He will be in opposition with a rather small parliamentary group. See the figures. So out of the 199 seats in the Hungarian parliament, Fidesz will have 5. And this is an interesting situation, because Orbán has shaped this election system, which is a mixed system, and the winner takes all rest votes, which makes the winner stronger. And Péter Magyar, thanks to this system, with roughly 53% of the votes on the party list, will have slightly more than 2/3 of the seats in the parliament.
And with all that as well, looking at the mandate and the sort of timing and the pace of change, realistically in your mind, I mean, once Magyar now takes over, I think it was about, Constitution tells us 30 days that the parliament sits. Looking at some of those main key promises that he's made, what do you think he's going to address first? Will he tackle all of them at the same time? What's going to be priority #1 for Péter Magyar?
Well, first of all, of course, he needs a government to form the government, and he called the president of the republic to give him the the right to form a government and to present it to the new parliament. But after that, I think the first thing is to take stock of the state budget, which is in a rather bad shape, and to go to Brussels to liberate the suspended EU funds. The situation is rather similar to that of Poland for the return of the Tusk government, because some important conditions of the rule of law should be satisfied, and then the EU funds would be open. I think this is among the very first. And then they start to change several people in the state administration, because Orbán has built during 16 years his governance system, and he had few ministries but many state secretaries and deputy state secretaries and government commissioners. So all that big team should be substituted by honest and competent people. And then it goes on, because I think, for instance, in the foreign service, several diplomats, several ambassadors should be changed. So it will be a rather tough work for at least for the first year of the new government.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think also, as you said earlier, and he addressed this last night, Péter Magyar addressed this last night, calling out certain individuals to get out, to leave. Looking at the sort of, let's say, transition, just briefly, how easy is this going to be? Will, this whole old system, will he have any constraints with this? Will it be smooth sailing? How is that transition going to be looking at?
Before the election of yesterday, it was one of the main questions, that how could a new government work if in all the key positions and key institutions there are the delegates of the Fidesz party. Now, the key of the situation is the two-thirds majority in the parliament. If you have two-thirds majority, you can take parliamentary legal decisions to change people on those positions. I think the first joy of everybody in Hungary that we could still change the regime by legal parliamentary methods. So not going down the street, not with a civil war, but by elections. And the second big result of yesterday was that Péter Magyar has achieved his dream, two-thirds in the parliament.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so as we said, a very historic night and a new future for Hungary, watched not just by Hungarians, but across Europe and the world. Look, always a pleasure speaking to you on this day, especially. Was our guest here, Péter Balázs, former Hungarian foreign minister. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. That concludes World Talks, but stay right here for more on TVP World. Goodbye.